Hi everyone, welcome to Saturday Night Crafting. Tonight I thought I would do a chatty video rather than a voiceover, mostly because I'm very short on time and it takes a long time to edit and do voiceovers. So I thought I would just chat with you and then edit, of course, when I'm done, but this way I'm just chatting to you as I'm doing it. Rather than doing a voiceover. So tonight for Saturday Night Crafting, I wanted to do a few cards. I wanted to do a more funky design. I feel like I'm getting a bit bored. I'm doing a lot of just standard card base sizes. So I thought we'd change it up tonight and we're going to do a fun card called the bridge card technique, and it's one that's been on my list for a long time because it's quite simple and easy, and I don't think I've ever actually made one before. I wanted to also use up my paper pads again. I feel like a lot of us have paper pads, and so I'm trying to make sure that I'm working my way through some of my paper pads that I've bought recently so that they don't just sit there. So I'm taking you along for the torturous ride, but I'm hoping that you're getting something out of it. So I've got these paper pads, which are another two from that same company, the Paper Boutique. So if you've been watching my videos, I have used these for about 3 or 4 weeks on the bounce because I went a little mental and I bought about 8 different sets. So we're going through them and we're using them. They're very similar to a lot of paper pads though, so have a look at what you've got in your stash and make sure you're using that up before you go buying some cool new stuff like me. I've got a lot in my office. Most paper pads that you get will have some basic patterns, some more busy patterns, and then usually they will have some kind of extra bit in them, especially if they're a scrapbooking pad. They will often have something like, for example, they'll have something like a page where you've got like strips like that, or you might have a page where you've got sort of smaller ones to go in like a scrapbook layout kind of thing. A lot of paper pads have these kind of elements in them. If you haven't got a paper pad in your collection that's got some elements that you can add to your card, then just be creative. Get out your dies, your stamps, and have a Google search as well. If you Google search bridge cards, you'll see lots of ideas of what you can do with dies and stamps and just get some inspiration that way. I want to make use of the paper pads, so that's what I'm going to use tonight, but by all means have a look through your stash at what you could use as elements to decorate your cards. So tonight I'm going to use Autumn Song, which is a paper pad little collection that I picked up a few weeks ago. That's what I'm going to use tonight for mine. I've actually also, funnily enough, got the papers with it, which I bought way before I even realized there were paper pads that go with every one of these. I just love the color, so I thought that I would buy this as some backing papers for some of my projects. So I'll use some of those probably as well. And for my card bases, I'm going to use the Ivory from the Blossom range from Lime Tree Craft here in the UK. This is a 330 GSM cardstock. Right, we're going to cut our base first, and I've gone ahead and written them all out. I will put all the measurements in the description box below for you, so you don't have to stress and worry if you've not got them in the video. So I'm going to open up my paper trimmer. This is the Hobbycraft paper trimmer. I'm going to line it up at 8 because I'm going with 8 inches wide, and the UK size cardstock is just over 8 inches. And I'm working in inches because that's much easier. You get smaller numbers and it just is more simple. Now again, don't trash your little strips. They will come in handy, I promise you. You get yourself a little jar and stick them on your desk. Because that's where I pull all of my tricks out of my hat. It comes from that jar. Okay, so we've got 8 inches there. And then we're going to 4 1/4. So that's one card. Oh, I wanted to score it before I cut it just to save on time. Never mind. 4 1/4. There. Then we're going to go up and we're going to score at 1 1/4 and 2 1/2 on both ends, right? So we've got 2 score marks from each end of the card. So very simple, very quick, very easy. Okay, so I've got the 2 card bases now, and I'll just work on one on screen with you. So we're going to fold the creases and then give them a nice firm press to make sure they're nice and creased so that they have that kind of pop back up ability, but they don't stay pinging in your face the whole time you're trying to work with your card. So we'll just crease those, and I did it wrong. This is why I like voiceovers, because if I'm trying to talk and craft at the same time, I just make such big oopsies at times. That wasn't a big one, by the way. I've made a lot bigger oopsies. Right, crease that, and then we'll crease it back on itself. So you end up with a card like that, a little itty bitty card. And now we're going to embellish it and decorate it. That's the basis of the card. Really dead simple. So for all of my pieces that I'm going to add onto my card, I wanted to have sort of panels that could go with them, because I wanted to be able to decorate it and use up my decorative paper and let the paper do the work for me. So I've got my little bridge, and this is cut to 5.5 by 4.25, and that allows it so that you can glue it on there, and it'll allow it to go flat like so. Okay, so you're going to cut a little strip of cardstock to 5.5 by 1.25. So I went ahead and used the scrap that I had left over from cutting these card panels, and I got myself 2 of the bridges, and then that's all I've got left over. So really, really great for avoiding wastage of cardstock. So next up, all we need to do is pick our cardstock that we want to, or paper that we want to go on. So I've gone ahead and measured out some panels. So if you want to have a panel on each one of these, then you're looking at 4 1/8 by 1 1/8 of an inch, and that will give you little panels to go on the front. So you need 4 of those. And if you'd like an insert, and if you'd like a double layer insert, so you could have either some decorative or colored cardstock paper behind where you're going to put your message, or if you want to use this as just something pretty to look at and put your message on the back, then you will need 4 1/8 by 2 7/8 for the insert, and for the topper for the insert, 4 by 2 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my panels now, and then we will start putting our card together and we will decorate it. Okay, so I went ahead and picked out the colors that I wanted to go with each other. And so I've got my little panel there, and then that one on top. I did my side panels in that color, and then the only thing I did extra was I went ahead and cut a strip to go on top of my bridge. And so to make the little topper for the bridge, all I did was I cut it by 1 1/8 of an inch wide by 5 3/8 of an inch long, and then that fits on your little panel really nicely. So we just need to go ahead and simply adhere it all together, and then we can start the decorating. Okay, so when you get to this point here where you've got your panels all glued on, it's time to glue on our little panel here. And we can put it anywhere we want. You can have it at the top, you could have it at the bottom, you could have one on the top and the bottom. There's so many different things you could do. You could put it in the middle if you like. There's a lot of different options, so we can have a lot of fun with this. For the sake of this one, I'm going to just stick it towards the bottom, not right at the bottom, but just towards the bottom there. We're going to put some glue on. You can use glue dots or use sticky tape if you want something that's strong that will hold it. Now I'm being very careful not to go too far in. I'm just putting it at the end. It doesn't matter if I cover that whole panel or not. What matters is that no glue comes beyond that panel. So I'm making it just slightly shorter than the panel, if you can see, because what we don't want is we don't want any adhesive going on to our card and gluing our card shut and keeping it from popping open. So my glue is a very strong glue. It dries quite quickly, adheres really fast. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a pinch, and then I can do the other side straight away. So just know your glue and your adhesive and what it does and how long it takes to kind of adhere. So now I'm going to pull it over and do the other side, and I'm just going to pinch it down so that it's lined up with the edge here. So I'm just going edge to edge and then pinching it until it adheres and sticks nicely. Okay, so when that's all dry, you can then see that your card will lie flat and go into an envelope really nicely. So it can go either direction, which is fantastic. Here's the other one I did with the extra bits. So I lined my back there with some gold foil card instead of the coordinating card because I just thought it would look really nice with gold, and again it lies nice and flat. It does have a little bit of a bubble to it, but it's absolutely fine. It'll fit in the envelope just fine and really nice. So we've got our little panel on the front of each of those, and this is a fantastic way. Look how much of the designer paper we've used already. How awesome is that? So already we've got a great use out of the pattern paper that was sitting in our collection just looking pretty, and now we've got a nice card that can pop right into an envelope when we've decorated it and embellished it, because there'll be a little bit of wiggle room in there for it to go in. So fit nicely, whoop, catching on the corners there. Pop that. That'll fit nicely into an envelope, and you can post it. So you can keep it now as simple as you like, or you can go as advanced as you like. So I thought we could do one of each. We could do one where it's quite simple, quite easy, one where we could step it up a little bit, maybe by adding some dies in. So for this one, I thought we would just use one of these and keep it fairly simple, because they've got a nice little pop-out element. So we'll just trim off these little knobbies that kind of poke out from being in that paper pad. Just thinking one of these would be really lovely to stick on the back there and just kind of have your eye sort of see the little sentiment, but the little birdie could kind of be poking through. You can kind of have it on the top there. Right, so I want to make these pop a little bit so they stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to use some brown distress ink and just kind of go around the edges and darken it up a little bit. Right, I thought I'd use this Simon Hurley Gur ink because it's a bit of a lighter brown. It's not quite so dark and heavy as the distress ink that I've got in my stash. So I'm just going to get my little finger dauber covered in some ink, and then I'm just going to go around and just kind of add a bit of an edge to that. And what you could do if you really want to sort of have the whole thing look distressed is you could go ahead and ink all the edges on all your panels before you glue them down, and that will add another element if you've got that bit of time to work with. Right, so I think I'm going to pop my bird on here and just give him a bit of glue on there, or maybe even a bit of foam square might be quite nice, and then I'll stick that in the back there, and I think that will finish off that card. So again, if you haven't got elements that come with your paper pad that you could cut out or that pop out, you could take some dies and use your dies and cut out a different piece of paper from the paper pad. All paper pads are designed to kind of coordinate with each other, so you should be able to match and mix and match the pages and have some fun. And hopefully there'll be some images that you could maybe die cut out or even fussy cut out, so you can have a little pop-up element on your card. I kind of felt like it needed a little bit more, so I'm going to add in 3 Nouveau drops here at the corner, and then that will kind of finish off my fairly simple and easy card that uses up our paper pad. So I'm going to finish it there and leave that one like that. So obviously I'm having one of those brain fart moments where Sasha's just not thinking. Obviously when you put your little panel on, you don't have to line it up while it's standing up. You can fold it flat and line it up, and then you probably won't get this lovely little bubble going on. A little bit of an afterthought, so if you watched the little first bit and already popped me a comment, don't worry, I've twigged it out, I've worked it out. I've just had this thought that actually I think it'd be quite fun to build a little border. Instead of having the strip on here, I think it would be fun to build something that could kind of maybe attach these two together and provide it rather than having the strips. So I'm going to try and carefully remove it, and if I can't, then I'll rebuild the card and die cut out some flowers, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I went ahead and used this really cute little set from Paper Discovery, and it's called Teacups and Fairies, and it goes with like a whole bunch of teacup fairy type stuff. But I love the dies that are in it because it's got a whole bunch of really basic die elements. So you've got like a bee, a snail, a dragonfly, butterfly. They all cut beautifully, really, really sharp, really nice. It's also got an intricate leaf and a normal leaf which it can go on top of, and it looks really nice. I don't know where I put those ones, and a little middle bit which I've also not sure where I put that. But I went ahead and cut out some of the leaves and a bunch of the flowers in the same coordinating paper, and I thought we can just go ahead and build ourselves a bridge to kind of go across somehow. We're going to work it out as we go. I took off my bridge here that was stuck there and it ripped all my paper, so all I did was just cut 2 new strips and cover it right up, and you could never tell the difference. So I'm thinking we're going to build a bridge with the flowers and the leaves and try and add quite a few elements just to make it nice and sturdy, and then I think we might top it off with either some gold flowers or maybe a gold bumblebee to kind of tie in with that gold in the background. So I'm going to use my panel here as my little kind of template. So I'm just going to use a bit of white tack to kind of hold this down so I can work on top of it, and then I know how long and how far I've got to go to get this little handmade bridge put together. So just blue tack it down, my little sample, and I might put a little bit of, sorry, it's white tack, isn't it? Put a little bit on this side as well and just kind of hold it in place so it doesn't go shifting about. And if I get any glue on it, then it doesn't really matter because it's just kind of my little sample one. Let's just kind of pop some of that under there. Right, now I've got it stuck down on my surface. Could have probably just used some washi tape, but never mind, we'll just use white tack. That was what was there. So I'm gonna kind of go I'm going to take a little bit of plastic packaging and just kind of stick it under, so if it tries to stick, it should peel right back off. Okay, so I went ahead and glued all those. I got a little bit carried away and got some glue spilled out there. This is dried now. I also went ahead and stuck on some reinforcement. So remember how I said keep all your scraps? This is what they're really good for. So I've got that reinforcement. No one's really going to see the back, but now I can go ahead and just glue those 2 flowers down just on those edges, and we should have this gorgeous pop-up card that has just been created with flower die cuts instead of just a plain simple strip of card. Now, if I was thinking correctly and nicely, I might have done like a half circle and then laid my flowers on the half circle, which should have been a little easier than my dodgy attempt. But I love how it turned out anyways. And then we can go ahead and we can embellish these flowers a little bit more, add on some gems, and maybe some glitter pen. I might actually add some glitter pen on now just so that I don't end up trying to do this. Maybe I could. Yeah, let's just glue it on, because then that way we don't end up with a crisis. Right, so I'm going to stick some glue on just the end bit here. I want to make sure that I don't go too far in, because it's the same as before. We don't want it to have adhesive sticking to the inside of that card there. So I'm going to just stick that flower on and pinch it. You can see how strong it is. It's not bending at all. And this is great because I just coordinated all the paper that came with the matching paper set. So it worked out really, really well. Okay, so that's stuck on there. Now we're going to go ahead and stick from about half of that flower down. Right. Oh, I didn't position that very well, did I? Never mind. Right, so now that flower is going to stick off the end, so I'm wondering if I should trim that flower down or not. That was my error. I did not line up my flower very well. Oh, never mind. We learn, we live and we learn. And we do it better the next time, don't we? Right, I want to stick a little bit more glue just there to make sure this sticks down. This is the thing, is a lot of the times I am making my videos and I'm doing my projects for the first time when I'm making them with you. So sometimes I make these errors, but who cares? It's handmade, and I feel like sometimes if there aren't the errors, then it doesn't have as much of a homemade feel, does it? Oh, I wanted to use some gold in there as well. Right, let's get some gold going on. Right, should I trim that? You're not on a Facebook Live with me, so you can't answer my question. Oh, I do like how that looks though. That is really cute. I like that a lot. Right, I'm going to go ahead and trim that flower because I feel like it needs to look a little bit continual, like as if it could be continuing off the card, but I don't want it to actually continue off the card. I want it to be a bit tidy. Oh, that's thick with that extra bit of cardstock there. Right, there we go. So I've trimmed off that end, which is a bit of a shame because I thought I'd done really well with planning, but never mind. Let's get some gold back into this card. So I went ahead and cut out the little bee, which is from that little die set, same as the flowers, and I'm going to pop him on there somehow. And then this is one of the sheets in the embellishment kit that matches the paper. And I absolutely love this one, but because I usually give out birthday cards, I'm going to use the sending birthday wishes. But some days it storms, some days it shines. This is how the flowers grow. And I just thought it just kind of went well with the card. But I'm going to use the sending birthday wishes and cut that out. Okay, so now is a good time, I thought, to go ahead and decorate some of the fronts of the flowers. I've got some gems here that I think I'm just going to pop on the centers of those and kind of glitz some of them up. Let's stick the bee down first, because that way we know exactly where he's going and we don't end up with trying to stick gems over, under, around, on top, that kind of silly situation. So I've gone ahead and put some gems on the centers and stuck my little butterfly down. My butterfly bee. I kind of feel like I wish I'd stuck him maybe on 2 or 3 layers just to make him stand out a little bit more. I've inked up my edges in the Simon Hurley Gur ink that we used on the first card. I've just inked up those edges so it can pop off a little bit more, and trimmed it down so it's a bit smaller. And I'm just going to stick that in the center behind the flower so you can still see it when it's stood up. I'll pop that in there. So it says sending you birthday wishes, and obviously the message could go on the back here. But I think I'm really happy with that card, and I think I'm going to stop here. I was debating putting some glitter, using my glitter gel pens around the place, but I think I'm going to end up destroying it and making it a bit too much. I might add a little bit of gold somewhere else on the card. But overall, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think it's really cute. So you got your first one here, which is nice and simple and basic, but the card design makes it look really nice and sort of luxurious. And then we got the more complex one where we've used a lot of die cuts to kind of make that bridge kind of pop and stand out a bit more. So I hope you enjoyed Saturday night crafting with me. I hope you'll give this a go. It is really quite simple to make, and you could go as complex or as easy as you would like to go. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you do subscribe to my channel. And if you want to join on Facebook, please do pop over there and join us. All the links to all the products I've used today, if I can find them, will be in the description box. If you hit the little arrow under the video, that will pop down and show you all the products that I have used. Thank you. Bye.